Welcome to Lesson 9. Now that we've had a good look at Ajax and JSON, it is time to put those skills to use. Today we'll discuss APIs. First, what is an API? It is an application programming interface. It is what lets programs, including scripts, talk to each other. The thing to remember with APIs is it doesn't matter how the API does its job, only that you can communicate with the API and get its answers. First thing you need to understand is what the API can do for you. How do you access the API? Does it require any authentication? Next, we need the syntax. This is how we learn to ask the API questions or to do something. HTML5 has some APIs built in. Have you ever been to a website and your browser asks you, do you want to share your location? Well, that is a new feature of HTML5. Before HTML5, cookies were the only way to store data in the browser. There are some limitations of cookies. They don't hold much data. They are sent to the server every time you request a page for that domain, and they're not considered secure. HTML5 has a storage object. There are two types of this object, the local storage and session storage. The data that can be stored is about 5 megabytes. Your browser may ask you if you want to let a site store more data, but you cannot rely on the user letting you store more data on their end. This data is protected by same origin policy, which means the data can only be accessed by other pages in the same domain. Now look at this URL. There are 4 parts to this URL: the protocol, subdomain, domain, and port. All 4 of these must match before the data can be accessed by a page. jQuery has an API we've used. There are other JavaScript libraries and frameworks that you can use as well. Those will be APIs as well. Once you've grasped these concepts on working with different APIs and worked out how to ask and consume information, you'll be able to grasp and use new APIs as they emerge. Let's take a look at some APIs. Okay, so today we're going to work with APIs. Today we're going to work with finding a location, local storage, and session storage. So our first example is this geolocation. This is where your browser is going to ask you, do you want to share your location? Since I've already said yes inside Chrome, it's going to output the longitude and the latitude. But we're going to show you that little warning where I haven't asked me. Okay, let me magnify that for you. Localhost, would you like to share your location with this site? Learn more, share location, always share or not now. That's the message you'll get when the browser is going to ask you to share your location. So how does that location sharing work? We're going to take a look at the code here. Geolocation.js. So first thing we're going to do is alias our HTML element, location, and create a message when there's no location available. And so we're going to use the modernizer API, so modernizer.geolocation. And if it exists, navigator.geolocation, get the current position, pass it 2 functions, pass it a function for success, pass it a function for fail, and just for convenience, we've named the function success and fail. And then the email text content, checking location. So it's going to say checking location while it's going to look for the location. Otherwise, we're going to output this message, which is the global message here. Sorry, we were unable to get your location. So in our function success, it's going to be passed the position from here. Get current position. If it's a success, it's going to pass its position to this function here. And so we're going to output a header, longitude, position, coordinates, longitude, and then latitude, position, coords, latitude, and then el map. Inner HTML is going to be this message. Whole thing we created here. Otherwise, it's going to fail, and text content is going to be message. The message from fail, not this message up here. And we're going to log the message code. And so when it works, we'll see our longitude and latitude as given by the browser. And if we want to work with that object, let's press F12 and look at the debugger in the console. So where do we create position? Here we go. And we can use that directly. We cannot. So let's see. Far position. Geolocation to string right to string function. Let's see what position gives us. Doesn't give us anything. Looks like we really do have to pass it to a function to get any of the coordinates. So we'll leave that for now, and we'll go on to the next API example. Local storage. So we look here, what would you like to make? I'm gonna press F12 again, and under, this is Chrome, so if you go click on resources, you'll see all these things here, and these are part of the HTML5 APIs. So if we click local storage, and localhost, that's this website here, localhost. I'm going to hit refresh. There's nothing here. So what would you like to make? I would like to make a robot. No, my name is robot. So my name is Troy, and I like to make robots. And you can see right away here, local storage was saved. Username, Troy, and the answer, robots. I refresh it. It's still there. I hit save. Oh, no data received. Oh, this is trying to pass it to a script, which we didn't create. But as you can see, it did create the local storage here. If I reload this page, it's still there. So let's take a look at that script. Projects, that is local storage HTML. That's going to be the local storage JS. So if local storage, so if this exists, then var text username equal get element by ID username, text answer equals document.get element by ID answer. So we're going to get these from the form. So the text username value is going to be equal to what's already in local storage. So local storage dot get item username, and this one is local storage dot get item answer. So if these exist, then these will become the values when you reload the page. Let me go back to there. So if I go back to this page, it's reloaded and it automatically puts those in there because it's saved here in the local storage. Now we're going to add an event listener input. So as soon as you type something, it's going to start saving into local storage. So local storage, set item, username to the text username value. And we're also going to add an event listener to the text answer input. And so local storage is going to start saving it right away in the answer. So let's take a look at that. If I start typing, you'll see the local storage updating automatically. Let me zoom in a little bit so that's clear. Okay, maybe this is good. Okay, so here's the text input box. Here's local storage. As I'm typing, local storage is automatically saving itself. now it also does the same thing for the other box, which I think that's cool. Gamma radiation is not. And I can explicitly push this save button, which would have posted it to another server. And this is saved on this page. Let me hit reload. Still saved. Exit out the magnifier. And so that's working with local storage. It's very convenient. You don't have to deal with cookies. It's built into HTML5. And last one for today is session storage. If now we go down here to session, and we'll take a look at the code first to see how that works. And session storage. So if session storage, we're gonna get the form elements just like before. We're gonna get them just like before, get the items from the session if it's there. And we're gonna add an event listener, save data on key up, and add another event listener to this one. It's also gonna save as we type. So as you can see, this is different than the local storage. And if I start typing in here, see it start saving down there. Just like before. Oops. Now let me see. What happens if we pick Chrome's in private browsing? And take a look at the session storage. Nothing stored in the session, and nothing stored locally. And here we clear out. Where's those clearing out? Right, clear. Obliterate the following, okay? We're gonna clear our cookies. And you can see the session disappeared because I destroyed the session. I also destroyed the local data as well. But if I hit enter, whoops. Stock, robots. Already saved. Now let's go back to local storage. Peter Pan wants to make Spider-Man. That's saved in the local storage. I'm going to close this browser. I'm going to relaunch it. Go to APIs. Check out local storage. There's Peter Pan, which is saved there. Nothing in the under session, but we had this still saved under local storage. And session storage, nothing's there because we closed the browser. Let me show that one more time. Close it to confirm. Local storage is still there, and session storage is not. And that's where we'll start with our API course.